All right, we are live for another live stream. It's Flex Friday, so of course I had to show up. Mitch to you guys last Friday. I want to start doing these every Friday, do a Flex Friday live stream. So if you're joining me live and you're here with me in the chat, let me know by saying hello. Tell me where you're watching from. How about that? If you're in the chat, you're joining me live, let me know where you're watching from. I'll give you a shout out. Who we got in the building so far, though? We got Rocket Raccoon. He's always my ride or die. He's always on the YouTube channel, leaving comments, leaving likes, showing love in the Dub Club, in the Discord, and on YouTube. So appreciate you, of course. Dosky, longtime Dub Club member. Shout out to you. Appreciate you being here for the live stream. BDG Ray says, Buenos Nachos. BDG from Discord here. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I don't think it's Buenos Nachos, but I think you know that. There's a part of me that thinks you know it's not Buenos Nachos, but you put it anyway, and I respect that. Who else we got in here? Everyday Fantasy, my guy Don P. A lot of y'all know Don P. He's got his own channel set up inside of our Discord. He's part of our Dub Club community, longtime A1 Day 1 member. So shout out to you. Appreciate you being here. Joe Boy Whack says, let's get this money. I love that. I mean, that's always the goal. That's always the plan. The mission every day is to get that money. It's been rough, though. Last few days have been rough. We had a pretty good Taco Tuesday. We swept the Taco Tuesday 2 picks that I dropped in Dub Club. So if you're a Dub Club Discord member, congratulations to you. We swept those tacos on Tuesday. That was a big day. But then Wednesday, Thursday, not so good. Not doing so great here lately, but hey, that's how it goes, man. This thing is a game of runs, this sports betting thing. There's highs and lows, ups and downs, and so, that's why I recommend some good, sound bankroll management, bankroll strategy. You got to play the long game. It's not a type of game where you want to nuke something every single day, that's for sure. That's how you go broke. We don't want to go broke. We want to make this sustainable. We want to make this fun. We want to make this something that we do on the daily. Let's see who else we have in here. Zach is in the building. Shout out to you. We got James, a.k.a. Space Jam. A lot of y'all know Space Jam's been in the community a long time, has his own channel, dropped some bangers for the community. Appreciate you, Space Jam, for joining us live. He's liking some Gabby Williams, full game points and rebounds, or points, rebounds, and assists. Okay. You have to remind me. We'll start doing the breakdown, looking into some of these picks that you're recommending, some of the plays that you're liking for Flex Friday. We'll take a closer look at some of those. If you want to jump the line, let's say you have a pick that you're interested in, you're not sure if you want to play it or not, you want me to do live research and analysis for you, I'd be happy to. One way that you can get yourself kind of to the front of the line and prioritize your comment is by leaving a super chat. Not only does it help support me and the channel and the free content that we're doing here with these live streams, but it also, again, will get you catapulted to the front of the line in front of everybody else's comment. I take the super chats real seriously. Those are the ones that definitely would prioritize more than the others. But if you don't want a super chat, hey, no worries. You ain't got to do it. But I set today's super chat goal of 5 super chats. Let's see if we can get 5 people to leave a super chat before the end of the live stream. I would be very humbled, very appreciative. Who else we got in here? We got Hayes. What up? Long time no see, Mr. Hayes. Boogaloo, watching from work. Shout out to work, man. Work's a real thing. This is my work. This is what I do full time. Betting analysis, trying to feed the community in Dub Club Discord, trying to help folks out here on YouTube. For those who aren't in Dub Club and just want a little free content, I try to jump on here with videos, with streams. You know, soon I'm going to get into more like YouTube Shorts probably. So you're going to see some of that coming your way. Short form content under a minute long. So, you know, mixing it up, doing a little bit of everything. Manny's in the building. Gator, shout out to Manny. Thanks for being here. Kay Johnson, good morning from SoCal. Dang, we got people from the West Coast. Throw the doves up. Baby, baby. Michael's in the building. Callie again. Andre, what's up? Orlando, shout out Orlando. That's right up the street from me. I'm here in Tampa, Brandon area. So Orlando, just a hop, skip, and a jump away. We got Texas in the building. Got to throw them horns up from the Texas people. T-Bone's here. Got another man, a lot of Cali folk. You Cali folk, let me know something. Everybody who's watching on the West Coast, California, is this a good stream time? It's 12 p.m. Eastern time where I'm at. So it's like, you know, afternoon, lunchtime. It's about 9 a.m. where you're at. Is this a good time or not? I mean, should I change the stream times? You guys let me know. Rogelio, shout out to you. That's Junior Beast. Okay, I see you. Charlie says, RotoWire is low-key underrated. We're definitely going to be using RotoWire today. Dante, what's up, buddy? Dub Club member here for sure. I recognize you, Dante. You're my 6-pick soldier, man. You like those 6 picks. I'm going to try and get some 6 picks out today for the community. We're gonna build one here on the stream, our Flex Friday 6-pick. And then, of course, you know, I'm going to throw out some other slips throughout the day for Dub Club and Discord members. So cool. So you Cali people are solid with the 9 a.m. start time on these Flex Friday live streams. Appreciate it. Jose, Bebo Jos. What's good, man? What's good? LA in the house. All right. Houston, Texas. All right. Cool. Sitting at the desk at work, putting in some slips. Shh. We'll keep that a secret between us. Hey, if you haven't hit the like on the live stream yet, do me a favor, hit the like button, and we're going to start getting into some picks, plays, parlays, and tackle some of this MLB, WNBA action. I think we've got pretty big MLB slate and a couple games for WNBA, so we'll be taking a look at both. And hey, I'm down for mixing and matching sports. I don't mind. I'll throw some MLB and some WNBA in a slip together. So, yeah. Alrighty, let's slide over to the screen share. I've got the Prop Professor Optimizer pulled up. I've got the RotoWire tools pulled up. I mean, we're going to be taking a look at everything. So let's start by starting with the MLB weather. MLB weather. So looking at Seattle and Chicago, Seattle Mariners, Chicago Cubs. Weather obviously is a big thing for MLB in case you guys didn't know. It looks like any rain that should be light enough to not matter. So it's going to be light rain, probably not impactful. Winds are out to left center at 15 miles per hour on a warm day. So that helps bats. For those of you who don't know, if you're taking any type of hitter props, you want to take the overs, or you should be more likely to take the overs on any type of hitter props where a wind situation is blowing out of the ballpark. That helps the ball carry further. Warm weather helps the ball carry further. Humidity helps the ball carry further. So any type of game situation where it says the winds are blowing out or the weather is warm, that's really going to help these hitters just knock the ball out of the park a little bit further. So that's something that's kind of nice about the Seattle Mariners, Chicago Cubs game. Texas Rangers, Pittsburgh Pirates, a few showers around, likely not an issue, so no big deal there. We've got a yellow-green status for Baltimore Orioles, New York Yankees. One cluster of showers possible around first pitch. Late start at worst, probably not even that. Winds out to center at 10 miles per hour. So there you go. There's another situation where the winds are blowing out. You know, that might help a guy like Aaron Judge, big home run hitter, big power bat. Maybe somebody like Giancarlo Stanton, maybe somebody like Gunnar Henderson for the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, just some of those home run hitters will get a little bit of a boost to their bat thanks to those winds blowing out. Detroit Tigers, Tampa Bay Rays, models bring storms a bit closer to Tampa than we've seen in most days. As I mentioned before, I'm in the Tampa region area close by, probably about 20 minutes, 25 minutes away from where the Rays actually play. So right now the weather doesn't look too bad, but we're talking about, 6, 7 p.m. The weather will probably start to get a little bit more cloudy. But here's some other good opportunities here. Cincinnati Reds, St. Louis Cardinals. It's hot, it's humid, and the winds are blowing out to left field at 10 miles per hour. You got the Milwaukee Brewers, Minnesota Twins. Winds are blowing in, so that's helpful for the pitchers. If the winds are blowing in, that's going to help keep that ball in the ballpark, limit home runs, limit extra base hits, stop the ball from carrying quite as much. So that's a boost for pitching, but that's a bump down for the bats. Maybe it's a little bit harder to hit home runs in that particular game. Arizona and Colorado. This is the game, of the day, the game of the slate. Why is that? Well, they're playing at Coors Field. Anybody who knows baseball knows that, if you're playing at Coors Field in Colorado, that is a hitter-friendly ballpark, arguably the most, hitter-friendly ballpark that there is. The Arizona Diamondbacks have some fantastic hitters in their lineup. Guys like Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, Eugenio Suarez, the list goes on and on, Naylor. So you got temperatures in the 90s with winds blowing out to right at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Great hitting weather. Gotta love that. Great spot. The Arizona Diamondbacks are the highest projected team on today's slate in terms of offense, so we'll take a look at those. We've got Cleveland and the Athletics. Cleveland Guardians and the Athletics. The winds are blowing out at 10 miles per hour in a minor league ballpark, always a plus. So there you go, another opportunity for you to maybe target some power bats, some home run hitters in that game. And then you got Boston at San Francisco with the winds blowing out at 20 miles per hour. But the caveat here is that the San Francisco Giants ballpark is a ballpark that minimizes wind impact. So even though the winds are blowing out at 20 miles per hour, the way that ballpark is designed, the winds don't help the hitters as much as it would in other ballparks, if that makes any sense. But yeah, that's kind of the recap of the weather situation around Major League Baseball today. So some definite good spots when it comes to targeting maybe home run hitter props, fantasy score props. Obviously, a home run for a fantasy score prop would put you over. You get about 10 points for just a home run. That doesn't even include if anybody's on base, those RBIs you get from the home run. So definitely some good spots to target some home run hitters. Now, as far as offensive projections go, offensive projections, this is basically going to be sort of a holistic projection for a team. How's their offense looking today? How are the hitters in particular looking against a given pitcher, the matchup? And as I mentioned before, the Arizona Diamondbacks are at the top of this list at 54.37 projected team fantasy score. So they're going up against Austin Gomber. Again, they're playing in Colorado, hitter-friendly ballpark. Austin Gomber, not a very good pitcher. And so the Arizona Diamondbacks are the top projected offense today. You got the Colorado Rockies, the other side of that game versus Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen, pretty decent pitcher. But still, when you're talking about the weather conditions in a ballpark that's hitter-friendly, even a guy like Zach Gallen could potentially struggle today. Looking at the New York Yankees against Sagano, they're your number 3 most projected, highest projected offense today. I know the Yankees, their offense, despite being projected well each and every day, they've been a little cold lately, a little slumpy lately. So the Yankees hitters, I know if you guys have been playing any Aaron Judge, he's been kind of crapping the bed lately. So eventually the Yankees will come back to life. They're in a slump, and maybe tonight's the night against Sagano. So we'll have to see how things play out. As I mentioned before, good weather in this game. Somebody like Aaron Judge might just finally crack another home run out of the park. But outside of that, you got the Dodgers against Mackenzie Gore. Gore, pretty good pitcher, but still the Dodgers projecting pretty well. Dodgers are another team who's been kind of in a slump, especially Shohei Ohtani hasn't really been doing great. I think he struck out like 3 times a couple games ago. So kind of got some up and down type situations going for some of these hitters, key hitters in some of these teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers. But Astros against Kikuchi, and then you got, just a whole host of other teams that are kind of sort of middle of the pack and whatnot. But that's kind of the situation as far as the projections go. So as I mentioned before, we'll be building out a Flex Friday slip here on PrizePicks. So make sure you go to the promotions tab if you haven't already. Opt in. Now's your time. You go ahead and opt in on the PrizePicks promo tab for your Flex Friday protected play. Now, PrizePicks limits me to just $5. $5 for tacos, $5 for Flex Friday slips. So I'm kind of limited in that regard. It kind of sucks, to be honest. But hey, that's the way it goes. When you've taken more money than you've given from PrizePicks, then they start to limit you. And so I guess they view me as a threat, and they want to, keep me down at $5. But we'll make the most of what we have to work with. But all right, let's see what else we got here. Queen Love cost me 6 units yesterday. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Don't risk it if you can't afford to lose it. Sometimes you're gonna have good days, sometimes you're gonna have bad days. Tuesday was a better day. Wednesday, Thursday, not so good. Tried to run some 3 picks yesterday. Didn't work out on PrizePicks. A lot of close calls, a lot of props missed by like 1 or 2. Those real narrow defeats or bad beats, if you want to call them that. So, that's the way it goes. You've been doing this for a while now, Queen. You've been in my videos, leaving comments and stuff. You kind of know the nature of the beast. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have cold runs. You're going to have hot runs. And right now, last couple of days, been a bit of a cold run. So, hopefully you're managing your bankroll properly and you are, betting responsibly. That's what we have to do here. You guys are saying that there is a free square that dropped. Let's see. Free square. You're saying Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has a free square? Boom. Check that out. He does have a free square. Obviously, Game 7 is what we're looking at here. Indiana, OKC, the series, I believe, sliding back to OKC for Game 7. SGA at 0.5 points. Free square. You definitely want to take advantage of this. There's really no reason why you shouldn't play it. Unless the guy hurts himself in pregame warmups or something, he should go out there and get, 1 point in the first couple minutes of the game. So, yeah, definitely want to take advantage of this. Obviously, you can't put the free square in your Flex Friday slip. They don't let you combine promos. So you're going to want to save this. Probably put this in like a 2-pick or even a 3-pick over on PrizePicks. That way you can sort of build some bankroll up. You can get a 3x. If you pair this with another winning pick on PrizePicks, you can get a 3x out of the situation. You could throw this into like a 3-pick flex, and then, you get 3 out of 3 on a 3-pick flex. It's a 3x as well. So that's another, route that you could take, I guess. But, whatever you want to do. A lot of different ways you could play it. Some people might want to throw it into a 5-pick or a 6-pick. And then really you only need a 4-pick or a 5-pick to hit. And then you can go up to 25 extra money. But yeah, they'll probably put me on a $5 limit for this free square too. Kind of stinks. But we got 2+ days to use this. So don't feel like you have to rush in and use it tonight. You could wait for just a prime situation, prime play, matchup, whatever it may be, and use it in that situation. So I wouldn't feel too pressed about using it today. Don't let it burn a hole in your pocket and force you to make a bad decision just because you want to use it up. You know what I mean? Wait for that pick, that prop, that play that you feel extra confident in. So that's what I would recommend you do. Anyway, we're not talking NBA today. We're talking mostly MLB and some WNBA. So kind of already recapped some of the weather situations and spots over in the MLB. Another thing that I like to look at on a daily basis is this BVP report, batter versus pitcher. So, this is going to look at historical situations where guys have faced certain pitchers, and it's going to give you sort of the breakdown. Like Jorge Polanco of the Seattle Mariners, for example, has faced Matthew Boyd of the Chicago Cubs a total of 47 times in their careers. He's got 14 career hits on those 47 at-bats, 6 of those going for extra bases, 3 of those for home runs, 12 RBIs, walked once. He's also struck out 11 times, but he holds almost a 300 batting average against Matthew Boyd with a .873 OPS. So those are the things I like to look for: batting average, OPS. So Jorge Polanco, for example, a guy who has a lot of history against today's pitcher in Matthew Boyd. Another one that we talked about, Juan Soto versus Zach Wheeler. 48 times he's faced Wheeler in his career, 13 hits on him, 4 going for extra bases, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 13 walks against Wheeler. So if you're going to play some Juan Soto, it may not be a bad idea to play him for fantasy score because each walk you get on PrizePicks is worth 2 fantasy score. All right, so those can add up. Say he gets walked once, maybe even twice, and then he has a hit, maybe steals a base. You know, those fantasy points add up. So for somebody like Juan Soto, I probably wouldn't play his hits, runs, and RBIs. Maybe fantasy score with how often he's walked against Zach Wheeler throughout his career. But, you know, these are also good things to look at. BVP, I also like to look at how a hitter has performed against a left-handed pitcher versus a right-handed pitcher, etc. So those are just some things that you should consider whenever you are looking at different MLB options. But let's take the first super chat. We've already hit 2 super chats out of the 5 goal that I've set for today. So I appreciate everybody leaving those super chats. Zach Sanchez says, for good luck on our plays today, let's get it. Can't wait for MMA tomorrow. Been good to me the last 2 weekends. Hope all the Dub Club members cash today. Appreciate that, Zach. So Zach just leaving some love, not necessarily a pick, play, or parlay, just leaving a little bit of love. Rocket Raccoon leaving a super chat. He wants to take the under on A'ja Wilson's points plus rebounds. Okay, so we got our first pick that we're going to take a look at here. Let's start with A'ja Wilson. First and foremost, if you don't use one of these DFS optimizers for sites like PrizePicks, Underdog, Better, Sleeper, Dabble, wherever you're playing your player props, you should be. And why is that? Well, because this is going to go out. It's going to scan all the sports books. It's going to take a look at which way the money's coming in. Is it coming in on the over or is it coming in on the under? On a site like PrizePicks, you only want to play what are known as positive expected value plays. Why is that? Well, that's because you want to go with the grain, not against it. You're not getting paid or rewarded any more money for going against the odds. You're not going to get paid anymore for playing minus EV plays. So having something like this where it's going out and literally scanning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 plus sports books and DFS pick'em apps is huge. It allows you to sort of aggregate and get a good idea of what, you know, which way people are spending their money on these different player props. So you mentioned A'ja Wilson. I think she's been out for the last couple of games. Is she expected to make her return today? Is she supposed to be back? The points plus rebounds is the top play on the optimizer right now. 55% chance for her to stay under 35.5 PR. All right, she's at 33.5 PR on FanDuel, 29.5 PR on DraftKings. Some of these other sites like Dabble, Vivid Picks, Hot Streak, Parlay Play, Boom Fantasy, Sleeper, they all have her like anywhere from 29.5 as high as 36.5. So you're seeing, you know, her lines, her odds are just like all over the place for A'ja Wilson. I mean, it looks good, Rocket. It looks good in terms of like the lines when you compare the PrizePicks lines to other books, other sites. I mean, she's as low as 29.5 in some places. You know, 56.2% chance now. So, I mean, it's climbing. I mean, that could be one that you just pair up with the SGA free square and just let it rip. Let's check out some projections for A'ja Wilson, though, real quick. We're going to go over to LineStar. A couple different sites that I know of that offer projections for WNBA. LineStar being one of them. Probably my favorite is RotoWire. And then Fantasy Labs also offers WNBA projections. But taking a look at the projection here for A'ja Wilson, she's at 30.7 points plus rebounds. 30.7 points plus rebounds. Is she the real question is she expected to play? Because if she's expected to play, then I think this is worth taking, maybe even with that SGA free square. If she's on the fence and we're not sure if she's going to play, well then you're risking possibly wasting your free square. If SGA ends up, or I'm sorry, if A'ja Wilson ends up being a DNP later on, then you've wasted your free square. So that's why I say it's a little bit scary to pair this up with your SGA free square. Like, I would need to know for sure, for certain, that she's going to be in the lineup tonight. So I don't know. But the projection is good. Under 35.5 points plus rebounds. She is projected for 30.7 PR right now over on LineStar. We'll slide over to this other projection site, which is Fantasy Labs. And when we plug in A'ja Wilson's name there, you're going to see pretty much everything A'ja Wilson related is projected for the under. Under on fantasy score, under on points and assists, and under on points, rebounds, and assists. Okay, so someone's saying it's a maybe for her playing today. All right, so yeah, A'ja Wilson's a maybe. So I wouldn't put my free square on it. But I could put her in like a Flex Friday slip, and if she ends up being a DNP, did not play, well then, you know, your 6 pick would become a 5 pick, for example. So it's not the worst situation in the world. Let's look at another projection here for A'ja Wilson. For that, we can go over to RotoWire, which is probably my favorite tool. And pretty much everything A'ja Wilson related is trending under. So under on the points plus rebounds at 35.5, PRA under, fantasy score under, everything. Everything's projecting under on A'ja Wilson according to RotoWire. Let's take a peek at her situation here. So she's been dealing with a concussion. She's questionable for Friday. Let's see. 17 hours ago, this update was posted. Wilson concussion, questionable for Friday's game against the Storm. She's missed the last 3 games due to a concussion. She's played in only 8 games so far this season. She's averaging about 21 points, about 10 rebounds, about 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2.6 blocks per game. If she's ruled out, Las Vegas would lean on Elizabeth Kitley. So, yeah, we don't have any clear confirmation on whether or not she's in or out. So, yeah, would not advise. Do not advise to pair this up with the SGA free square because you might just waste the free square in that situation. So, yeah, but a 2 pick when you have a free square is a different situation, Michael. You only have to get 1 pick right for 3x. I think there are situations where a 2 pick is viable, and one of those would be Taco Tuesday where you're getting a discounted line on one of the picks, or a free square situation like with this SGA play. Then you have to get 1 right? I mean, obviously this is going to hit, but yeah, there are rare circumstances, situations where a 2 pick might be worth playing. But so for right now, Mr. Rocket Raccoon, the verdict is still out on whether A'ja Wilson will play or not. Like, if I knew for sure she was playing, I'd probably slap the under, but I don't know. So for right now, she's probably just a flex-worthy only option for me. But we can certainly add her, as a potential play. And the cool thing about RotoWire here is you can kind of build out a picks playlist, so to speak, and then you could send them all over to PrizePicks in one fell swoop. So I'm going to add her for under 35.5 points plus rebounds as a potential play for right now. Potential. All right. Let's see. What other comments? What other picks, plays are you guys liking? I'm trying to find some stuff to research here that you guys, are digging. Derek is mentioning he's like an Allisha Gray for over her rebounds and assists. Allisha Gray's been balling. She's been balling for sure. Let's run her first and foremost through the optimizer here. Allisha Gray, 2 L's and Allisha. So you've got a couple of different ways to play Allisha Gray. The top play right now, according to the optimizer, is going to be the over on her 21.5 PR. And why is that? Well, at 21.5 on some of these sports books and other sites, she's a pretty nice betting favorite to go over 21.5. A site like FanDuel has her up as high as 22.5 points plus rebounds. So, you're talking about potential value here when PrizePicks has a line at, a whole point plus rebound lower than a reputable book like FanDuel. Kind of should catch your attention a little bit. But you could go over on her points plus rebounds at 21.5. That is the top play, the most optimal play according to how the money's coming in on these sports books. So that could be an option for you. Now, the one that Derek was mentioning is the rebounds plus assists for her at 8.5. This one is also slightly a positive expected value play or a plus EV play. Slightly, but a 51.5% chance. So mathematically speaking, you'd have better odds, a better chance of her going over 21.5 points plus rebounds than you would her going over 8.5 rebounds and assists. Okay. What this does, it scans all these sports books, it looks at the odds, it removes the VIG from these books, and it gives you like fair odds. So 55.2% is pretty darn good. Let's run some projections on this Allisha Gray prop. Fantasy Labs, their projection has Allisha Gray going maybe slightly under 8.5 rebounds and assists. So if you're going to play Allisha Gray, they suggest maybe taking the under here. 50.6% win percentage they're giving based on their projection models. So yeah, kind of a neutral play, and that kind of coincides with what we just saw on the optimizer, where it was only like a 51% chance to go over. So it's kind of a coin flip. Let's look at some other projections for Allisha Gray, though. We're going to go over to RotoWire for this one. RotoWire is loving Allisha Gray across the board today. Fantasy score, points plus rebounds, which is the one that we looked at, the top play. The rebounds and assists also projecting for an over. So let's look at the PR and the rebounds and assists, and maybe we can narrow it down to one or the other. So this is her hit logs, her game logs from the current season. At 21.5 PR, she has gone over now in 67% of the games, or about 2/3. Every 3 games she appears, she goes over her 21.5 PR in 2 out of 3 games on average, roughly. This will be the second time now that she has faced Washington. She just the third time that she's faced Washington. She faced them in the opening game of the season, dropped 33 points plus rebounds on them. Most recently, June the 15th, 37 points plus rebounds versus Washington. Now, what I like about this is she's coming off of a bit of a down game based on her averages of 25.8 points plus rebounds for the season. 19 PR against the Liberty 3 days ago. So I kind of like going back to a prop after a flop. And yes, those are bars. Those are bars. You have to admit, those are bars. Go back to a prop after a flop. She definitely flopped against the Liberty. So I think she's in that looks like a really good spot. 2 for 2 against Washington, and she didn't just barely go over against Washington. Like I said, 33 and 37 PR against Washington in the 2 games she played against them so far this season. So the PR, I can understand why this one's so juiced up on the sports book. She's projected for about 24.5 points plus rebounds. That's 3 PR higher than her line of 21.5 right now over on PrizePicks. Now, Derek was liking the rebounds and assists, so let's take a peek at that one as well. 9.88 is her rebound plus assist projection. That's about a 1.4 differential between the projection and her line on PrizePicks. Now, when you go and take a look at what she's done against Washington in the rebounds and assists category, well, she's been really good against Washington in that department as well. 15 rebounds and assists back on May the 16th, the first game of the season. And more recently in that June 15th matchup, 9 rebounds and assists. Barely going over the 8.5, but going over nonetheless. All we need her to do is go over by 1, and we win, right? I think both of these are solid plays. 75% hit rate for the season for Allisha Gray, covering the rebounds and assist line at 8.5. So whichever one you wanted to go with, I can't really be mad at either one. Let's check out some other projections for her. We'll go over to Line Star and see what Allisha Gray is projecting for there. Over on everything. Over on everything, according to Line Star's projection tools. 9.6 projected rebounds and assists. Love that. And then for the points and rebounds, 24.2 PR for Gray there. So another projection model that has her going well over 21.5. So, chat. Which one are you liking more? You liking Gray over rebounds and assists? Or are you liking Gray over 21.5 points plus rebounds? Let me know. Let me know. Those of you who are watching live, let me know in the chat. If you had to pick one, Gray over RA or Gray over PR? And whichever one gets more love, we will add her to the list. You know, this is a family affair. This isn't a dictatorship, all right? I'm just the big talking head on your screen. I don't make all the decisions around here. We like to incorporate the family, get everybody involved. PR. No, they ain't talking about Puerto Rico. But shout out to PR. All right, so points plus rebounds. I mean, she's crushed. No denying. She has crushed her points plus rebounds. All right. PR it is. PR it is. So let's add that one. You know, we'll add both. If the 21.5 gets bumped up, we can always go rebounds and assists as a backup plan. Because you know PrizePicks and how they like to roll. They will bump stuff on us. Especially during a live stream like this where people are like, damn, that pick looks good. Let me jump on that. Let me throw $100 down on that. Stuff gets bumped a lot during these live streams. But I've added both her points plus rebounds and her rebounds and assists. So we will say 21.5 PR, but a backup plan will be the rebounds and assists. I think that's fair. That's a fair way to go. Manny was saying that she went under her last 3 games. What? Who went under? Oh, you're talking about, was that Asia Wilson? I might be late. That might be Asia Wilson. What else? Guys, feed me some more picks. Come on. Leave some comments in the chat. If you want to go a front of the line and you want to support the channel, leave a super chat. We've hit 2 out of 5 of our super chats so far. We're trying to go 5 out of 5. All right, 5 out of 5. And speaking of, we just got another super chat. Manny, my guy Gator, saying, you the GOAT. Well, I appreciate that. I try. Pete Alonso over hitter fantasy score. Bet. Let's take a look. I like talking baseball. All right, so Pete Alonso over hitter fantasy score. First and foremost, we already mentioned that, this game, the New York Mets, one of the better projected teams offensively, but they are going up against Zach Wheeler today, and that scares me a little bit. New York Mets, Zach Wheeler. So if you take a look at their team projections, the Mets are down toward the bottom. Wheeler's an elite pitcher, gang. He's an ace. Let's take a look at the BVP information, though, for Mr. Pete Alonso. What scares me about taking a player's hitter fantasy score when the team projection is projecting so low is the fact that Pete Alonso is probably going to need some help from his team in order for him to hit the over on his fantasy score. Sure, he could do it alone. It's a very rare situation, but he could do it alone. 1 home run would put him over his hitter fantasy score, no problem. Or if he has, something like a double or a triple, that would probably put him over his hitter fantasy score pretty easy as well. But I like looking for players on teams where the team is projecting well from a fantasy score perspective. And we're not really getting that with the Mets because, like I said, they're facing Wheeler. They're down at the bottom. They're not expected to do great tonight. That doesn't mean they can't do great. It just means that the projections aren't liking the chances of them doing great. But taking a look at what Pete Alonso's done against Zach Wheeler in the past 37 at-bats. So he knows Wheeler well. Wheeler knows him really well. 10 hits against Wheeler for 2 of those hits were for doubles. So he's got 2 doubles in his career. No career home runs versus Zach Wheeler, who is a right-handed pitcher. He's got 3 RBIs, 2 walks. So he doesn't walk at a particularly high rate versus Wheeler. And he struck out 9 times versus Zach Wheeler as well. So his batting average against Wheeler lifetime is .270. Not terrible. OPS, pretty low though. .681. That's pretty low. Do I love this pick off just what I know so far? Not loving it. Not loving it. Now, Pete Alonso against right-handed pitchers has done really well this season. He's got a .985 OPS this season. Batting over 300 against right-handed pitching. His slugging percentage is a lot higher versus righties than it is lefties. He's got 14 home runs versus righties versus just 3 against lefties. So, I mean, he's definitely one of those guys that, you know, you want to play him against righties, but do you want to play him against elite righties like Zach Wheeler? Do you want to do that? I don't know that I want to do that, but forget what I think, because these projection models, especially the good projection models like The Bat by Derek Carty, they already factor in way more stuff about the weather, the umpire, the catcher, previous matchups. All that stuff is already factored in when you use a good projection model. So let's just check the projection models real quick. We'll start things off with RotoWire. RotoWire with Pete Alonso. Let's see. 5-hitter fantasy score. It is a very low number, but probably a low number for a reason. So what would he need to get over a 5-hitter fantasy score? I mean, he could have something like a double right out of the gate, and that would put him at 5-hitter fantasy score. He'd be tying with 1 double. He could walk. That would be 2. He could get a single. That would be another 3. That would tie him at 5. If he hits a home run, it's a no doubt, no brainer. He goes over hitter fantasy score easy. But he's never had a home run against Wheeler in his career. And it's a lot of at-bats. Pretty large sample size. So anyway, looking at the projection for Pete Alonso, he's projected for 7 fantasy score. 2 fantasy score higher than where he's at on PrizePicks at 5. If we go over to the projections on the bat for Alonso, they've got him at, let's see, 7.96 hitter fantasy score. And remember, if you're using projection models for fantasy score purposes on PrizePicks, make sure you're using models for DraftKings for hitters, FanDuel for pitchers. DraftKings projections for hitters on PrizePicks for fantasy score. FanDuel projections for pitchers on PrizePicks for fantasy score. But yeah, he is projected for more than 5-hitter fantasy score, 7.96. So, I mean, the projections are liking him. Like I said, he does well against righties typically. He's done okay against Wheeler typically. Not great, but okay. Let's run one more projection here. We'll go over to LineStar and see where they have Pete Alonso projected today. 5-hitter fantasy score. His projection is 10.1. Huge projection for him there over on LineStar. So they're really liking Pete Alonso. I got another projection we can check too. Let's go DraftKings. Alonso. 7.31. So, I mean, I guess if I were to lean one way or the other, it would probably be leaning toward the over, but I think there's probably better plays out there outside of this Pete Alonso fantasy score. So, a little worried about the matchup. It's an okay matchup, not a great matchup, but the fact that the Mets overall as a team today are projecting so low in terms of these stack projections, we'll call them. They're like in the bottom 10. That concerns me a little bit. I would rather take a hitter from like the D-backs, the Rockies, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Astros, the Phillies, you know, one of these top 5 projected offenses today. I'd rather take a guy for hitter fantasy score from one of them. You didn't let me down. It might be a good pick. The cool thing about what we're doing here is nobody knows anything. If we knew anything for sure with 100% certainty, we wouldn't be gambling anymore, would we? It wouldn't even be called gambling. But we don't know anything. So you didn't let me down. I think it's a decent pick. I don't think it's a great pick, but I think it's a decent pick. Maybe it's worth throwing in a flex. I wouldn't power it. Maybe a flex. Let's see. Wheeler over 96.5 pitches thrown. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Zachary's liking Hunter Brown over fantasy score. Okay. Everyday Fantasy's liking, is that Austin Wells fantasy score at 3.5? Let me take a look at that one. Wells, 3.5. So we'll go back over here to RotoWire. Austin Wells going up against the Baltimore Orioles. We already talked about good hitting weather for the New York Yankees game. Winds are blowing out to center at about 10 miles per hour. So a guy like Austin Wells, who has some pop in his bat, he could certainly send one over the wall, or maybe he sends one for a double or a triple or something along those lines. But yeah, 3.5 is a very low hitter fantasy score number. His projection over on RotoWire is about 6.5, 6.43 to be exact. So Austin Wells definitely projecting for more than 3.5 hitter fantasy score. Again, a lot of different ways he can get to this number. If he gets walked once, that's 2 points. He's already halfway there. If he gets walked twice, he's over 3.5 hitter fantasy score. If he gets walked and gets a single, that's 5 fantasy score. He's over 3.5. So a lot of different ways he can get it done. A double's worth 5. He could get a double and go over with one swing of the bat, one plate appearance. So I will say that over the last 10 games or so, not quite 10, we'll say the last 6 games, he's been a little hit or miss. 0, 5, 0, 0, 2, 5. So bit boom or bust. I told you the Yankees, as well as the Dodgers, have been kind of underperforming as a team lately. Their bats have not been batting. Their hitters are not hitting. He did go over in his last game against the Angels, though, with 5 hitter fantasy score. So there you go. That's one projection for Wells. Let's check the bats projection for Austin Wells. They've got him at 7.62 hitter fantasy score. He's at 3.5. That's a difference of more than 4. That's huge. In terms of props, fantasy score props, that's pretty big. 7.62 versus a line of 3.5. So he's a lefty. Let's see how he does against someone like Sugano, or if he has any previous history against Sugano, today's starting pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles. We know that the New York Yankees overall as a team stack, they're projecting as one of the top teams on today's slate against Sugano. He is not. Wells. There we go. Austin Wells. Let's see. Has he faced Sugano before? He has. Okay, so he's faced Sugano just twice, 2 at-bats versus Sugano in his career, who is a right-handed pitcher. Wells is a lefty. The 2 at-bats yielded no hits. He struck out once. So he's got a career batting average of 0, an OPS of 0. Everything's a 0. All right, but very limited, small sample size. Now, against righties this season, not his strong suit. He's actually one of the rare guys who, as a left-handed hitter, is good against left-handed pitching, better against lefties this season than he is against righties. So he's got a .659 OPS, but his OPS against lefties is .857, so about 200 points better on his OPS against righties, or from comparing righties to lefties. He's better against lefties. His average .195 against righties, .260 against left-handed pitchers. Slugging percentage is way higher too, .391 against righties and .548 against lefties. So that's why his hitter fantasy score is probably sitting at 3.5, because he's been pretty crappy, batting under 200 against right-handed pitchers. But again, with the weather being what it is, hey, he could get a hold of one, man. He could get a hold of one for a home run. He could get a hold of one for a single. If he gets on base and then the guys behind him drive him in and he gets a run, that's worth 2 more points. That's 3 for the single, 2 for the run. All of a sudden, he's at 5 fantasy score and he's going over. So again, I'm not going to tell you not to play it. It's projecting well across multiple models. The only real knock against this is his 0 for 2 against Sugano in a limited sample and his bad numbers against right-handed pitchers overall this season. So let's check out a couple more projections for Austin Wells and just kind of see how he's stacking up on other projection sites. We'll go over here to LineStar. They've got him at 7.5, so about 4 fantasy score higher than his line of 3.5. And then over on Fantasy Labs, they've got him at about 7.21, a little lower. He's expected to bat around 8th in the order, so he'll be in the back of the lineup if he's in the lineup at all. I mean, they may look at it like I looked at it and be like, hey, this guy's trash against right-handed pitchers. Let's not put him in the starting lineup. Maybe he comes in later in the game in a pinch hit situation. Maybe the Orioles bring in a left-handed reliever. Maybe they put Austin Wells in, in a pinch hit situation against a lefty reliever. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. So we talked Pete Alonso and we talked Austin Wells. I'm just going to add them to the list that we're building out here as placeholders. All right, we've got a good little list going right now. We've got Asia Wilson dropped, by the way, from 35.5 points plus rebounds down to 34.5. So do we want to keep it or remove it? I'll keep it right now, even though it's a 1-point bump, but she did get bumped down. We've got Allisha Gray in there for more than 21.5 PR. We've got Allisha Gray over 8.5 rebounds and assists. And we've got Wells and Alonso are some other picks that the chat has mentioned. Again, don't hate either of these picks, but I don't love them either. They're just like, they're okay, but anything can happen, literally. So I'm not going to try to steer you away from anything. All right, let's go back and talk about some pitches thrown. Pitches thrown. Somebody mentioned Zach Wheeler's pitches thrown. DePoris Williams likes Zach Wheeler for more than 96.5 pitches thrown. This is one of my favorite props. Done pretty well overall. I ain't going to get them all right. Nobody ever gets them all right. But I've done pretty well with the pitches thrown props in the past. And I'll kind of show you my process right now with this Zach Wheeler prop. So pay attention. First and foremost, you're going to need 1, 2, 3 different projection models. It helps to have them if you can get your hands on them. The bat is number one. For MLB player projections, the bat is number one. Fantasy Labs is another one that is really good. That'd probably be my number 2. LineStar is another projection site that offers pitches thrown projections. So you got 3 different ones that I know of. There may be more, but those are the 3 that I use. Those are the 3 that I know about. So you're wanting to go Zach Wheeler for more than 96.5 pitches thrown. So let's dig into it. First thing that I do is I like to look at the matchup. So I come over here to this stack projection page, and I look for Zach Wheeler's name. I want to know, is Zach Wheeler in a good matchup or a bad matchup? In other words, is his name going to appear down here toward the bottom of the list against the team that he's facing? Or is his name going to be like Austin Gomber and appear at the top of the list? Because if he's at the top of the list like Austin Gomber, that means that the team that he's facing, in this case the Arizona Diamondbacks versus Austin Gomber, they're projected for 54.3 fantasy score as a team, the highest projection of any team. So to answer that question, Zach Wheeler is down toward the bottom, which means should be pretty decent, pretty favorable matchup for Wheeler. It's not one that I'm really concerned about. Other guys in good matchups, pitchers who are in good spots, Max Fried versus the Orioles, Clayton Kershaw versus the Nationals, Nick Pivetta versus the Royals, Spencer Turnbull versus the Chicago White Sox, Michael Lorenzen versus the San Diego Padres, Hunter Brown versus the Angels. So all the offenses going up against these pitchers aren't expected to do much today. So that's one thing that I look at, right? So Zach Wheeler is more down toward the bottom, which is good. It's good. Mets aren't expected to do great things. They'll probably be pretty good because they've got Pete Alonso, Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, etc. in that lineup. So they do have some bats that could do some damage, but overall, the bats projection models, they don't like the New York Mets to have a great game tonight. So that's a good thing for Zach Wheeler. Hopefully he stays in the game longer. Hopefully they stretch him out and he goes, as many innings, throws as many pitches as possible, right? So that's one thing that I look at. Then I come over and I look at some projections for a given pitcher, in this case, Zach Wheeler. Now, again, to get these projections, you have to be a member of the BAT. You have to pay for that. His projected pitch count, they do 3 different pitch count numbers here. You've got the BPC for Zach Wheeler, which is 100. That's the base pitch count. That's his base pitch count. Then you have the projected pitch count, which is today's projected pitches thrown, which is at 97. And his line, again, is at 96.5. So they have him slightly more than 96.5 pitches thrown, right? By one pitch. And then you have a third column here, MPC, maximum pitch count. In other words, the ceiling. If everything's going right, if it's a close game, if it's like 1-1 going into the sixth inning, Wheeler's sitting at 95 pitches, like, are they going to send him back out there? More than likely, they'll send him back out there. If the game's close, competitive, they'll probably send Wheeler out there. So this is the most pitches that he might have or has had in a game this season. So those are three different little metrics that I look at. Now, there are other projection models, as I mentioned before, that offer projections for pitches thrown or pitch count. Another one is Fantasy Labs. So when you come over to Fantasy Labs, you're going to go to the FanDuel section. You're going to go pitchers. Then you're going to go over here and type in Wheeler's name. Now, Wheeler is projected for about a 98 projected pitch count. So that does put him over by 2 pitches. A little bit more generous, a little bit higher projected number here for Zach Wheeler. So 98 projected pitches. So you got 2 models now, the Bat and Fantasy Labs, both like Zach Wheeler to go over 97.5 pitches thrown. All right. Now, I do have access to a third projection model. I don't know that I trust Line Star's projected pitch count as much as the others. They're always notoriously low. And today is no different. They've got Zach Wheeler at 96.5 pitch count, but his projected pitch count is 88. So I don't know that they do as good of a job as the Bat, as Fantasy Labs, at projecting a pitcher's pitch count. So I take this one with a grain of salt. I like the other projections better. I know they're more reputable. They're probably more accurate, more solid. But now you got 3 different projections. 2 out of the 3 have him going over, slightly over, barely over. Now, one other thing that I like to do is I like to pull in Outlier. In case you're not familiar with Outlier, Outlier is a really great tool for looking at things like historical game logs. They've got some advanced data in there as well. So what you do with this, go to the MLB section, find the player that you're looking for, Zach Wheeler in this case, punch in his name, select any old category just to click in here. And then what I do is I go to the outs, pitching outs. I leave it on over because we're looking at taking the over on his pitches thrown. Pop this little guy open, and then you could filter out just the games he's played at home, and you can kind of get an idea. So for the season, he's averaging 99.3 pitches thrown. His number's 96.5 today on PrizePicks. Now, if you click this home button, it's going to show us just the games that he's pitched at home. Let's see if the average of 99.3 goes up or down when he pitches in Philadelphia. It actually goes up to 101.1 pitches thrown. So he throws a significantly higher average number of pitches per game when he pitches at home versus when he pitches on the road, which is a good sign because we're thinking about taking the over. One other little metric that I like to look at is the New York Mets versus right-handed pitchers. You could see their stats for the season. They rank 18th, kind of middle of the pack versus right-handed pitchers. And then the last 30 days, they've actually become a little bit tougher against right-handed pitchers. So maybe their hitters are, hotter lately versus righties. One other thing that I like to consider is this pitcher facing this team for the first time? Or is it for the second time, third time? And if it is for the second time, when was the last time that this pitcher faced this particular team? If they faced him recently, that's not good news typically for the pitcher in most cases. If it's been a while ago since they faced him last, well, that's better news because it's been a while since that team of hitters has seen this particular pitcher and their pitch arsenal. So let's take a look at that. Has he faced the New York Mets before this season? Yes, he has, but it was all the way back in April. April 23rd was the last time, so you're talking almost 2 months ago. But in that game, which was at New York, 107 pitches thrown for Zach Wheeler. 107. He's at 96.5. So it's been 2 months ago now since they last saw Zach Wheeler. Historically, head-to-head, he has gone over in 2 out of 3 head-to-heads versus the New York Mets. Last season, he was 1 for 2, 94 at New York, 111 at Philly at home. And then this game from this season, 107 at New York. So I agree. I think that I am rocking with the over on Zach Wheeler on his pitches thrown at 96.5. I agree with you, Mr. Williams. That's definitely the way that I would lean on that one. So, can't add him to the list on RotoWire because they don't have pitches thrown as a prop that they support. Oh, look, it says Allisha Gray at 8.5 rebounds and assists has been removed from PrizePicks. And they brought A'ja Wilson down to 34 PR on PrizePicks. All right, at 34 PR, I'm removing A'ja Wilson. She's no longer someone that I'm interested in. But we still got Allisha Gray, Austin Wells, Pete Alonso, and Zach Wheeler. It'll be left over here on the PrizePicks slip builder. Yeah. We're staying away from A'ja Wilson now. The under at 35.5 PR was a great play. She's way too low now at 33, especially since we don't know if she's actually in or not. Let's see. Blade Tidwell, under 4 strikeouts. Man, that is an awfully low number for any pitcher in Major League Baseball. 4 strikeouts is crazy. I don't know that I feel comfortable going under 4 strikeouts, but I mean, according to the optimizer here, 52.2% chance that he has 4 or fewer strikeouts. So, I mean, that would definitely be the way that you would want to go if you wanted to take an over or under on Blade Tidwell strikeouts at 4. The lean would be toward the under at 4. Let me check a projection on the bat for Blade Tidwell real quick too. Blade, that's such a cool name. He is projected for 3.68 pitcher strikeouts. So, yeah. The lean toward the under would be the way to go on Blade Tidwell at 4. Music Mike. Yo, CJ, my dog, just checking in on this Flex Friday. Happy Flex Friday to you. Thanks for checking in. Appreciate it. So they put Allisha Gray up to 22.5 PR. Well, I mean, we're not surprised, right? Like, told y'all, stuff like this happens on these live streams. It's kind of hard to build out a 6-pick slip sometimes because of all the line movement, but Allisha Gray is up to 22.5 PR. So is there a good pivot play for Allisha Gray? I mean, there might be. Let's refresh the optimizer and go check right now. You could go, I mean, the other options would be the over-under PA, points and assists. That would be the next best one. That one's at 21. You could go over on just the points at 17. Those would be your next 2 best options. I mean, it's still considered to be a positive expected value play for her over 22.5 PR. Still with a 53% chance of her going over that line as well. So, yeah, I mean, you could still take the PR. Or you could go with one of these higher percentage plays like PA or just the P, the points. So, I don't have that ready right now, Michael. It'll probably be in the next like pre-recorded video. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Don't have it queued up. I don't have anybody picked yet. Totally forgot about that. Sorry. Let's see. George Kirby over 5Ks. Let's check him out real quick. Kirby over 5Ks. I mean, is it a positive expected value play for him to go over 5Ks? It is not. The money coming in on George Kirby would, lead us to take the under more than we would take the over. So 52.2% chance that he has 5 or less strikeouts for Kirby. So again, those aren't the type of plays. Like if you think Kirby, for whatever reason, whatever conviction you have, if you think Kirby does go over 5 strikeouts, don't take that on PrizePicks. Take it on a site like a sports book or a sleeper, where they actually reward you for taking on more risk, for going against all the money that's coming in on the sports books, going against the grain. There's sites out there that will pay you, for taking a prop that's plus odds, in other words. But don't do that on PrizePicks. Makes no sense. There's no reason for you to go against all the money, against the odds. Like they don't pay you anymore on PrizePicks to do that. So don't do that there. Do that on like a sports book, a sleeper, parlay play, something like that. That's better to do over there. Yeah, Will says, every time I take an under at 4 strikeouts, I get shelled. Yeah, that's just such a low number. To me, that's just one of those, like, I'm just going to stay away. I'm going to stay away. Aja Wilson, Everyday Fantasy took Aja Wilson under 55.5 fantasy score. She's now at 54. Sounds like you got some good value. Anybody who took Aja for under 35.5 PR also probably got some good value. Corbin Carroll over hitter fantasy score at 10.5. We talked about the Arizona Diamondbacks being the top projected hitter stack today against Austin Gomber. They're expected, the Arizona Diamondbacks, to combine for 54.3 or more hitter fantasy score. So they expect the Diamondbacks to light Gomber up at Coors Field. So you're liking some Corbin Carroll. Let's check real quick on Corbin Carroll and see what's going on with him. He is a guy that I like to play for fantasy score because he's a stolen base machine. He's good at stealing bases. He's got more power in his bat this season. And he's just a good hitter on a good team. So it looks like as of yesterday, he was absent from the lineup because he's dealing with a hand issue. He got struck on the left hand by a pitch. X-rays were negative. He tried to get in the lineup for Thursday. Maybe he's in the lineup tonight, Friday. Is that hand a big deal? We'll find out tonight if he ends up playing. We don't know. But if he's feeling like he's good to go, then hopefully he just needed that one little day off, throw some ice on it, rub some dirt on it, and he's back out there again tonight. But against Austin Gomber, who is a left-handed pitcher, Carroll is a left-handed hitter. 13 at-bats in his career versus Gomber. He's got 6 hits against him. One of those hits were for a double. 2 of those hits were for home runs. He's got 3 RBIs, struck out twice, holds a .462 batting average and a 1.462 OPS versus Austin Gomber. So Corbin Carroll has had some good numbers, good success against Gomber. Now, against lefties this season, Carroll's been better against righties than lefties just overall this season. Is it a good stolen base matchup for him? It is. It looks like, according to the stolen base cheat sheet here, that Austin Gomber is a guy that you can steal on. And Corbin Carroll's got 45 stolen bases over the last 2 seasons. So if he gets on base, there's a good chance that maybe he steals a bag too. So I don't mind it. Looks pretty good. Let's check some projections for Corbin Carroll real quick. Excuse me. We'll go over here to RotoWire. RotoWire's got Corbin Carroll way under 10.5 hitter fantasy score. They've actually got him at 0. So that's probably because maybe he's not confirmed to be in the lineup for tonight's game yet. But no projection for Corbin Carroll on RotoWire. So we'll skip over that. Let's see if the bat has a projection for Corbin Carroll. Yeah, they've got him at 13.74 hitter fantasy score. Projected to lead, not lead off, but bat second in the lineup. So yeah, that's a really big projection versus line like differential for Corbin Carroll, 13.74 on what is arguably the best MLB projection model out there. Checking another projection, 12.51 hitter fantasy score. His line again is 10.5, so they've got him going for about 2 more hitter fantasy score on Fantasy Labs than where his line is at on PrizePicks. So I don't mind adding him to our Flex Friday slip. I wish we had a RotoWire projection, but it's not updated yet until he's actually confirmed to be in the lineup. But we'll add him to our list, our ever-growing list. Hunter Brown fantasy score is 39.5. And Vladimir Guerrero over 0.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Who are the Toronto Blue Jays facing today? Must be a stud or something. His hits, runs, and RBIs are only... Or that must be an alt line. Is that an alt line for Vlad Guerrero at 0.5 hits, runs, and RBIs? Is that like a goblin? Gotta be, right? Just rule of thumb, Vlad against lefties is the best time to play Vlad. Vlad against lefties is a thing this season. Better against lefties than righties for this season. Hunter Brown fantasy score. So I haven't played a lot of pitcher fantasy score this year. The lines have just been super, super sharp most days. But you got Hunter Brown versus the Angels. In terms of the matchup, it doesn't look like a scary one. Like the Angels are expected to do a whole lot offensively today, especially against Hunter Brown. So you got Hunter Brown down toward the bottom of the list, which is kind of something that I look for when evaluating pitcher fantasy score. And then you've got the flip side of that, the Houston Astros versus Yusei Kikuchi. They're one of the top 5 projected offenses today. Now, why I look at that is because win equity. You get a pretty sizable bonus on PrizePicks for a pitcher in their pitcher fantasy score if that pitcher is the winning pitcher from that game. So the fact that the Angels are projected to do so poorly against Hunter Brown, but Hunter Brown's offense, the Houston Astros, are projected to do so well against Yusei Kikuchi, that's kind of a good thing, right? It means he should have plenty of run support. He should have the lead if the Houston Astros bats outperform the Los Angeles Angels bats like they're projected to do. So that's nice in terms of win equity for Hunter Brown. Looking at other Hunter Brown info here, he's at 39.5 fantasy score, which is a huge number. I mean, that is a big number. If we take a look at his games this season, he has gone over this in 79% of the games that he's appeared in. This is the first time that he'll be facing the Los Angeles Angels. So that's nice. He does typically pitch a little bit better at home than he does on the road. 2 out of the 3 times that he's missed the over on his pitcher fantasy score have been road games. A lot more solid when he pitches at home. So he's going to be on the road tonight. He's going on the road against the Angels. RotoWire's got him at 37.2 projected pitcher fantasy score. A couple points lower than PrizePicks at 39.5. Let's check out another projection, which is going to be over here on the bat. The bat has him at 32.3 pitcher fantasy score. So I'm just going to leave it alone. Fact that he's projected lower on 2 different models, just not my jam. I'm gonna stay away from it. Okay, so Vlad is a goblin. That's kind of what I thought. If you're going to play any sort of alt lines, don't play those goblins, man. Don't play them on PrizePicks. You're better off taking an alt line on Sleeper. They usually pay you more for alt lines, whether it's a goblin or a demon. Not always, but usually. Sports books, if you're going to play an alt line, maybe go over to a sports book and check out the payment there. But yeah, I kind of stay away from some of those alt lines. Jack Flaherty over 17.5 pitching outs, value or trap? Man, I'll tell you, pitching outs are the bane of my existence. I play very little pitching outs. I would rather play pitches thrown versus pitching outs. Pitching outs, man, are just, they're tough. So he's going against Tampa Bay. They said that some bad weather might be rolling in later in the game. He's going to be on the road at 17.5 pitching outs. I think it's just so hard to project pitching outs for anyone, whether it be the bat, whether you're using Fantasy Labs, whether you're using RotoWire, whether you're using sportsbook data. I mean, you would like to think that Jack Flaherty can get through 6 innings versus the Tampa Bay Rays, but listen, the Rays have been low-key sneaky offensively. They've been decent. Like, I mean, they could give Flaherty some problems. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Let's look at the pitching outs for Flaherty, though. I mean, 16.3 pitching outs per game on average, right? So he's only gone over 17.5, made it through 6 innings 5 times this season. Now, he's done better lately. In the last 5 games, he's gone over in 4 out of the last 5. But hit rates don't matter a whole lot in baseball. It's really matchup based. You should be looking at everything in a vacuum. Let's see if the average of 16.29 pitching outs goes up or down on the road. Up, but slightly up. 16.33 pitching on the road. He's only gone over 17.5 pitching outs 1 game out of 6 playing away from Detroit. I don't know. I don't love it. The Rays, however, against right-handed pitching, the worst right now. No, I take that back. The best. I take that back. I was looking at it wrong. Bad matchup here for Flaherty. Tampa Bay batting versus right-handed pitchers. They rank 2nd overall in average, 8th in OBP, 9th in OPS, BABIP, 1st, 6th in WRC plus, and that was just for the season. Over the last 30 games, they rank number 1 in every single one of those categories against right-handed pitchers. They have only gotten better over the last 30 days versus how they've done for the season. So, yeah, I'm not buying it, man. I'm going to stay away. I got to stay away from Flaherty. It's not something that I'm loving. He's worse on the road. He's going up against the team that's the toughest against right-handed pitchers over the last 30 games. You know, if he goes over 17.5, God bless him, but I won't pay to find out if he does or not. I'll just watch. As a Tampa Bay Rays fan and native, I'd rather just watch and be a fan than to roll the dice on this guy. It's not sexy. If you feel good about it, roll the dice. Right, Big Red, you're talking about Hunter Brown's fantasy score. Yeah, I'm not loving it, man. The fact that he's projected to go under on a couple of different models, not my jam. If he was at home, I'd probably feel a little bit better about it, but Hunter Brown on the road, not great. Detroit's bullpen is tired. Oh, I see. Yeah, I would rather run the pitches thrown. If you're going to run something, maybe run the pitches thrown versus the pitching outs. What are Flaherty's pitches thrown today? Flaherty's pitches thrown are sitting out here at, well, they don't have them. Never mind. Oh, yeah, they do. 95.5. So, I mean, you could go that route if you wanted to. I just don't love Captain Jack today against the Rays. Last 5 games, he's gone over the pitches thrown in like 3 out of 5. I mean, there's a scenario where he goes over 95.5 pitches thrown and doesn't make it through 6 innings. I think there's a path where that happens. You know what I mean? He could go 17 pitching outs and throw for 96 pitches. So, JP Crawford of the Mariners from 6.5 to 7.5. Got a good bump on that. Nice, nice. Always good to lock in some value. Let's see here. Have any of our other picks moved? No. All right. Let's take Wells and Alonso out. Corbin Carroll for more than 10.5 fantasy score. I like that with Zach Wheeler pitches thrown so far. I do expect Corbin Carroll to play. It doesn't sound like the hand situation is one that is like going to sideline him, like be a major issue or anything like that. So, you know, we've got those two. Let's dig through some of these other ones. We got Shane Baz popping up here for under 5.5 pitcher strikeouts, 54.3% chance that he stays under 5.5 pitching strikeouts. Let's check out his projection today. Baz is going up against Detroit. He's projected for about 5.35 pitcher strikeouts. Let's check out another projection for Baz, 5.6. So they got him going slightly over 5.5. Although with these projections, you always want to take off about another like 10% or so off the projection. Let's check out Baz over here on Line Star. About 5 strikeouts there. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to add him in here. He could get it. That is the top play on the optimizer right now. 54.3% chance for him to go under. Asia Wilson at 37.5 PRA now is about a 54% chance for her to go under that number. So if you're still looking for like, you know, maybe a WNBA play, maybe you go Asia Wilson under. The PR came down already from like, I don't know what it was, 36.5 at one point. But you could go Asia Wilson under PRA. That one still looks viable. Thirty-seven and a half. Yeah, she's projected for 29. Super low projection for her. Versus Seattle. She's had some good games against Seattle. She's played Seattle twice this season, only had 24 PRA and 29 PRA. So we're still trying to figure out if Asia Wilson's good to go or not. But if you wanted to throw like a WNBA in here, you could put her in for under 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. What else is popping up here on the Opti? Chelsea Gray, over PRA. Yeah, I can't touch that. I can't touch that without knowing if Asia's playing or not. Her PRA opened at 40.5. Well, grand opening, grand closing. Rogelio says, Curry, you the GOAT. Thank you, Rogelio. We just hit our 5 super chat goal for the stream. Appreciate you. Brittany Griner for over 12 points. Now, you said Grinder. You trying to be funny, my dude? You know what Grinder is? It's a dating app. Did you mean to say Brittany Grinder? Or were you trying to say Brittany Griner and you made a mistake, a typo? I'll forgive you if it's a typo. What you trying to do? What you know about that Grinder app? Let's check out Brittany Griner. Over 12 points. Let's see. It looks like she's at 11.5 points. She's a betting favorite to go under 11.5 points. Yeah, I mean, she's, you know, pretty long in the tooth in terms of WNBA years, right? Like, she's up there. She's no longer the dominant focal point of the team. Kind of a role player at this stage of her career. Atlanta's got some talent. Howard, Gray. Got Brianna Jones, I believe, right? In that front court with Griner. Freudian slip, huh? Yeah. We'll chalk it up to that. But yeah, she is currently a betting favorite to go under at 11.5 points, 51.2%. So you're wanting to take the over on her at 12 points? Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if I trust Brittany Griner. Fantasy Labs doesn't really have any info or any kind of projection for her on her points. They do like her to have 5 or more rebounds. So if you wanted to take an over on Griner, maybe take the rebounds at 5. Let's check some other projections. Yeah, RotoWire likes her to go over 5 rebounds as well. She's coming off of a down game against the Liberty where she only had 2 rebounds. Maybe she bounces back here against Washington. She has had some good rebound games against Washington. If you take a look at the games from this season, 8 boards in each contest versus Washington. She's at 5 right now on PrizePicks. Probably due for a decent rebound game here soon. Maybe it comes tonight against Washington, team that she's already hit 2 for 2 on. You know, we'll see. But you could grab, the 5 rebounds for her if you wanted to. Another one that has an even higher hit rate. Check this out. Just the defensive rebounds, they're sitting at 4. She's had 4 or more defensive rebounds in 80% of the game. So 8 out of 10 games, she's had at least 4 defensive rebounds. So while I don't love the points, I kind of love this one. 4 defensive rebounds. She had 7 defensive rebounds versus Washington back on June the 15th. 6 defensive rebounds against Washington back on May the 16th. I think we pivot to this play. I mean, I know her minutes are kind of wishy-washy like Space Jam said, but 80% hit rate at 4 defensive rebounds. I'm cool with that. Maybe throw her in there for that. Maybe she's not getting buckets, but maybe she's out there cleaning the glass. 4 defensive boards seems doable. Yeah, I mean they're all over the place. What is she, like 6'8" or something? 6'6". Hopefully she can grab some rebounds. I mean, she has in the past, unless she's got that arthritis. Maybe that's why she's not playing as many minutes. Are they getting blown out? Is Atlanta blowing teams out, or are they getting blown out? Like, I don't know. That could be something to do with it too. Maybe it's just a matchup type situation where, the matchup's not the greatest for her. So, you get some of these big slow-footed type players in the NBA and they don't necessarily match up so well against certain lineups. I'm just looking at her rebound projection on some of these other sites like LineStar. They've got her at 4.7. So that's just her total rebounds. Her line is 5. Her projection is 4.7. This isn't just defensive rebounds, but kind of gives you at least an idea. Is she going to be, in the ballpark? So, questionable tag on Griner, possible DNP. See, that's the type of information that I like. 30 minutes ago. She's iffy for Friday. She's dealing with an illness. She's questionable. Late addition to the injury report, which doesn't bode well for her status. If Griner is unable to give it a go, Brianna Jones could be more involved for the Dream. All right, hey, let's pivot over to Brianna Jones. Maybe we could catch some early Brianna Jones value. If Griner's out, Bree Jones might be the move. Against Washington, Brianna Jones has had 10 rebounds in one game, 4 rebounds in another game. What about just her defensive rebounds? 58% hit rate. 58 either way, total rebounds or defensive rebounds. Has she done well in any other category versus Washington? That first game of the season, she did well against Washington. She's not 2 for 2 on any given prop versus Washington this season. That more recent game against Washington, she kind of, I don't know, crapped the bed. But yeah, you would expect that she would get more rebound opportunities, more touches overall, you know, maybe a slight bump uptick. So the Dream beat the Mystics by 30 last game. Got you. Allisha Gray under 17 points? Nah, I got to leave that one alone. Allisha Gray's been too good against Washington in the past. She's had, 25 points and 32 points versus Washington this season? Can't do it. Can't do that. No unders on Allisha Gray for me today. Been too good versus Washington. Dream beat the Mystics by 30 plus last game. Okay, so that probably had something to do with it. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind like possibly trying to jump on some Brianna Jones value. Like maybe the rebounds, I guess, would be my favorite play. She's had 4 and 3 in the last 2 games. Maybe Brianna Jones comes back to life. Maybe she bounces back. The prop that is hitting at the highest rate for Brianna Jones, they're all right around 58%. The points at 12.5. Looks like the one that's hitting the highest, the points. So, I don't know. You could do that if you wanted to. We got a few. We got Wheeler. We got Corbin Carroll, Shane Baz, Asia Wilson. We're going to remove Brittany Griner, though, because she may not be playing tonight. Sounds like she's under the weather. What else? Brittany Sykes is popping up on the optimizer right now. 22.5 points and assists under. It's good value there. She's at 19.5, 21.5 PA. How has she done against Atlanta, though? That's the real question. Sykes is kind of the focal point for Washington, is she not? Who else does Washington have outside of Brittany Sykes? Yeah, she has one good game against Atlanta, one bad game against Atlanta. 27 in the first game, 12 in the most recent game. No, nothing set yet, Big Red. Still working it out. Still chatting it up. Still chilling. Kiki. Sykes under first half fantasy score. Xander Bogaerts over 5 hitter fantasy score. Who are they going against? Forget. Padres. Michael Lorenzen. Yeah, they're not projecting very well, man. Padres against Lorenzen are the 5th lowest projected offense today. Again, he could be that one-off hitter who, has a good game versus Lorenzen, but kind of don't want to take anybody over whose team isn't projecting particularly well. Yeah, Kiki, Sonia, and Sykes. Wilson bumped from 37.5 to 36.5. Well, I'll be damned, they just don't want us to have anything nice. Asia Wilson, go on, girl, get. Max Fried and Nick Pavetta over on pitches thrown. You can check them out. Let's see. You said Max Fried versus Baltimore. Well, I already know that Fried is going up against Baltimore. Baltimore is the lowest projected offense today, so that's already a good sign. Who was the other one? Nick Pavetta. Nikki P. Is he on here? Where's he at? Am I missing him? Oh, there he is. Against the Royals. Let's check out the Royals real quick. Okay, Royals third to last in offensive projection today's versus Nick Pivetta. Okay, let's check out both of these then. So Fried and or possibly Pivetta. All right. Well, we know that the matchups are favorable, so we've already got that piece out of the way. Fried is projected for 98 base, 96 actual strikeouts. So that does put him over slightly by 1. So that's cool. Pivetta's at 91.5. Let's look at Nick Pivetta. 91.5, but his base is at 91. His projected actual strikeouts are at 91 as well. So for me, I would leave Pivetta off, being that his projection's under by 1. Let's check out Fantasy Labs real quick on Max Fried's pitches thrown. He's projected for 99 pitches thrown on Fantasy Labs. So I'm cool with Fried. Fried looks pretty good. Let's run some more info here on Fried. We'll go over to Outlier, plug in Fried, go over to his pitching outs, make sure it's set to over, go over here to the supporting stats, look at the pitches thrown. 95.3 is his pitches thrown average. He's coming off of a 106 pitch game on 6/15, so that was like 5 days ago. Baltimore versus lefties for the season, 27th in average, 24th against OBP, or 30th against OPS, 23rd in BABIP, WRC plus 28, but they have improved in all of those numbers, all of those metrics over the last 30 days. So the Baltimore Orioles bats are getting better. This is the first time that they'll face Max Fried, though, which is usually a good thing for the pitcher. In terms of home games, Fried does average slightly more pitches thrown in his home games. 98 pitches thrown on average when playing in New York. He's got 4 out of his last 5 home games. He's hit 100 or more pitches thrown. So, yeah, I'm cool with leaving Max Fried in there. So we got those 4 now. Yeah, I'll leave Fried in there. Ain't mad at it, but I'm gonna stay away from Pivetta. George Kirby pitcher fantasy score under. Let's see. Kirby. I don't see him even on here. Who's George Kirby facing today? I forget. Cubs? Oh, that game's about to start, right? Like now-ish, soon. His pitcher fantasy score is at 26.45 on the bat, so I don't know what that lines up with, but is that over or under? Where's Kirby's pitcher fantasy score at? His pitcher fantasy score is at 26.5. Yeah, I mean, that might be kind of tight. The Mariners bats, though, do seem to be in a pretty good spot against Matthew Boyd, at least a couple of them. So that might bode well for Kirby, in terms of win equity. We need like 2 more picks because I've been streaming this damn thing for almost 2 hours now. Appreciate all the super chats, though. Appreciate y'all showing up. Appreciate y'all chatting it up. If you haven't liked today's live stream yet, I'd appreciate a like. A share of the stream would be great, too, if you feel so inclined. Let's see what else is lurking and lingering out here on these sports books, though. Talked a little bit about Sykes. The under at 22.5 is a plus EV play based on the lines from some of these other sports books. The only issue with it is she's projected to go over. So the projections and the way that people are betting on this prop for Brittany Sykes don't align. And when they don't align, I'm just like, all right, I can move on and find a different pick. Don't love when they're not together. I do want to find a way to get some Allisha Gray in, though. I know we missed out on her PR earlier. Her points seem to be the next best option. I mean, the PR is still there, like, for the taking if we wanted to. But maybe the points at 17. So as I mentioned before, she is cooked. She is cooked against Washington in the past. Now you got news that maybe Brittany Griner won't be there. Not that it impacts Allisha Gray a whole lot, but maybe a little bit. She's projected for 18.8 points over on Line Star. Gray is projected for 18.5 points over on RotoWire. And the fact that she's coming off of a bit of a down game, when she's averaging about 20 per game, 20.5 per game for the season, I like that. 25 and 32. Yeah, I'm going to make an executive decision here. I'm going to add Allisha Gray in for more than 17 points. Hopefully she's getting buckets like she has before. Put her in there. Put her in there, coach. So we got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. Should we go one more for the 6 pick or stick at 5 picks? Y'all let me know. One more for the 6 pick or stick at 5? Michael, have a great weekend if you're still here. Have a great weekend, buddy. Thank you for being here. A lot of Brittany Sykes under love, huh? Dejanay Carrington for under points and rebounds at 16.5. One more? All right, one more. Sean, we got our Allisha Gray pick. We're going to take her over at 17 points. She's just been too good versus Washington. What else is showing up here on these opties? What about Magbagor over 17.5 rebounds? We liking that one? I think for me, that would really hinge on whether A'ja Wilson's in or out. Like if A'ja Wilson's out, then maybe I would take Magbagor over 7.5 rebounds, but I don't know if she's going to be playing or not. Arike Ogunbowale has also been pretty good for her assists. I see they bumped it up to 4.5. We talked about Brianna Jones maybe having more rebound opportunities with Brittany Griner being a late addition to the injury report. Brianna Jones has about a 53% chance of hitting 7 rebounds or better. So that could be an option that we've mentioned. Maybe no Griner means more rebound chances for Brianna Jones. Let me check something out here on Brianna Jones. Yeah, Bree Jones is already like sitting out here at 7 rebounds as a take the more option according to the Fantasy Labs projections. I don't know if we ever checked a Brianna Jones projection on Line Star. They don't have one for her rebounds for whatever reason. And what did RotoWire have her at? RotoWire has her projected for 8.88 rebounds. Spotty against Washington this season and in the past, spotty. She had 10 boards in one game, 4 boards most recently. Okay, Tina Charles. I'm debating between Brianna Jones for 7 or more rebounds. Tina Charles. Didn't Tina Charles just like shit the bed the other day? Like didn't do anything for some reason? Didn't she just come off of like literally the worst game she's had recently? Yeah, she had like 6 points plus rebounds versus Phoenix. What's up with that? Anybody know why that happened? What happened with Tina Charles? She only played 15 minutes. It was the first back-to-back of the season for the Sun, and perhaps the 36-year-old was experiencing a bit of fatigue. So basically, she's old. She only played 15 minutes because she's old. I mean, she was balling out. 23 PR, 26 PR, 25 PR, 24 PR, and then all of a sudden 6 versus Phoenix. Dallas isn't very good, though, gang. The last time she played Dallas, she had 33 points plus rebounds against them. The last 4 times she's met Dallas, she's gone over in 3 out of 4 on her points plus rebounds. So I know she's projecting under for everything today, according to RotoWire. But she's had some time to rest now. That last game was what, a couple days ago? Maybe her minutes pop back up. This isn't a back-to-back situation or anything for her. She's going to be playing at home. At home this season, she's cooked on her PR 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 games played at home. She's gone over. The only anomaly, the only weird one was that game against Phoenix where she only had 6. What are the books saying today about Tina Charles? Under everything, Tina Charles. But it's kind of a coin flip. So 51% chance, 6 or fewer rebounds. Her points plus rebounds at 22.5, about a 51% chance. Wow. Well, I would not be surprised if somehow she pops back up and goes over tonight. She's just been too good. And she's coming off of a crap game. Would not be surprised if Tina Charles somehow resurrects from the dead. But, you see these projection models, they all have her going under, and it's kind of like a red flag, at least for me. I kind of don't love that. Oh, I'm sure there's probably a ton of good hitters still out there, man. The day is young, my friend. There's only one game going, I think, right now. Ketel Marte could be a guy you go after versus Austin Gomber. We talked about the Diamondbacks being the number 1 projected offense today. What is Ketel Marte at for hitter fantasy score? Is he at a cheaper number? Nah, he's at 10.5 also. So you could go Marte maybe over 1.5 hits or over 10.5 fantasy score. He doesn't steal bases as well as Corbin Carroll does. So I'm more likely to take the over on Carroll at 10.5 because of his stolen base upside. Not that Ketel Marte can't steal bases. He can. But yeah, Corbin Carroll definitely has stolen more bases over the last couple of years. Let me look at Ketel Marte's numbers versus Austin Gomber. Faced Gomber 23 times, 8 hits, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 348 batting average, almost an 1100 OPS. So both he and Corbin Carroll have some very good numbers against Austin Gomber, who is a lefty. Ketel Marte's numbers this season, though, not great against lefties. You want to play Marte against righties, typically. His OPS, 0.657 versus lefties, but 1.079 versus righties. Huge difference there. Batting average, 0.196 versus lefties, 0.33 versus righties. So huge number there. Slugging percentage, OBP, on base percentage, all that stuff is up versus righties. So I prefer Marte versus Marte versus righties. I'm going to stick with Carroll if you're debating between the two. We talked about Judge a little bit. The winds are blowing out for the Yankees. Judge versus Sagano could be a move. Judge, a little cold lately, has been kind of in a drought. It's been tough for guys like Judge and Ohtani, arguably the 2 best hitters in baseball. Let's check out Judge real quick. Judge is at 9 fantasy score. Whew. Last 10 are kind of bare, man. Kind of bare. Ain't gonna lie to you. Especially the last 8. He's only hit 9 or more fantasy score in 2 out of the last 8. Does he have any history versus Sugano, though? Let's look at that. Judge versus Sugano. He's faced Sugano 3 times. He's got 2 hits and 1 strikeout. So 2 singles, 1 strikeout for Judge. 0.667 batting average. 1.333 OPS. Against righties this season, Judge is pretty damn good. Almost a 370 batting average. 1.137 OPS. Damn, man. Am I going to do it? Am I going to go back to Judge? He's at 13.1 projected hitter fantasy score today. He's at 9 on PrizePicks, right? Whew, that is so tempting, bro. This guy's not going to stay down forever, right? We know he's going to pop back up. He's going to hit a home run at some point. Maybe it's today with the wind blowing out at 10 miles per hour versus a guy in Sagano he's 2 for 3 against. Like, maybe today's the day. There's only one cluster of showers that we have to worry about. Bro, I know you're saying nah, but man, Judge is going to come back to life at some point. The hits, runs, and RBIs, which is the most like closest prop to his hitter fantasy score. The line is 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's at 50.2% chance. So it's basically a coin flip. Could go under, could go over type situation. So not really seeing any sort of, data or info there that helps us with our decision making. Damn it, Aaron Judge. He's at 12 projected hitter fantasy score over on Fantasy Labs. Like, I mean, this could be the game, right? This could be the game where he comes back. He's going to come back. He's going to come back at some point. He's too good to stay down forever. Again, the Yankees are the 3rd highest projected offense on today's slate. They're one of 3 offenses that are projected for more than 40 fantasy score on today's slate. The other 2 happen to be playing in Coors Field. I'm going to send it. This is my Flex Friday slip. Zach Wheeler over 96.5 pitches thrown. I'm going to take Corbin Carroll over 10.5 hitter fantasy. Shane Baz for less than 5.5 pitching strikeouts. Max Fried over 95.5 pitches thrown. Allisha Gray for 17 or more points. And Aaron Judge for 9 hitter fantasy score. Again, I only get $5 for my protected plays. So for me, it ain't a whole lot of money that I'm risking, but that's the most I can risk. But that's what I'm going to go with. Those picks. Wheeler over pitches thrown. Corbin Carroll over 10.5 hitter fantasy. Baz under 5.5 pitches, pitcher strikeouts. Fried over 95.5 pitches thrown. Allisha Gray over 17 points, and Judge over 9 hitter fantasy score. So let me send this out to the community in Dub Club, because I know not everybody can tune in. Un momento. I'll get to that super chat in just a minute. But let me send this out so that everybody who wants to tail can tail. Get a little screenshot here. Send that out with it. And boom, if you're a Dub Club Discord member, there is the link for that slip. Let me see if I can throw this link. Oh no, I can't throw it in. Can I throw it in the live chat? I think I was able to. Nah, I can't do it because I don't have the live chat pulled up. I don't have YouTube pulled up. Well, I can't send the link to the slip, but there it is. That's what I'm playing for my Flex Friday. Again, it's protected play. If the thing don't hit, the thing don't hit. We'll get our $5 back or whatever you get, $20, $25 back. So it's not the end of the world, but I mean, to me, these picks check out. That's all we can do. Let's get to this super chat here. Appreciate you once again, Manny, for the super chat. He says, CJ, bro, I'm sending more because I feel bad asking for 3, but could you do a quick check of Boyd over pitches thrown, pitch count? Zach Neto under hits, runs, and RBIs, and Adley Rutschman under hits, runs, and RBIs. Did I get those right? Let me know. Those the 3 that you're talking about? You mentioned Boyd. That one's about to start. Pitches thrown. Under was it? No, over. That one's scary because Seattle's actually got some hitters with some good numbers against Boyd. But that one, Zach Neto, Neto, under against Hunter Brown. And Adley Rutschman, under against Max Fried, right? Cool. All right, let's look at these. Starting off with Boyd. So I don't have a way to like see what the Seattle Mariners are projecting for as a team offense. For some reason, I think it's because it's an early one-off game. They don't show up under this like team stack list. But we do have some BVP information about Matt Boyd. He is under the cold pitchers matchup today, both he and Mackenzie Gore. So if you look at Matthew Boyd, he's faced these Seattle Mariner hitters, at least some of them, in the lineup 76 times. They have 26 hits off of them, 11 hits for extra bases, 6 home runs, 23 RBIs. He's walked 6 of the hitters that he's faced, struck out 18 of them. But the guys that he has faced that are in this Mariners lineup have a batting average combined of .342, which is really damn good. A combined OPS of 1.076, which is really damn good. Anything over 1,000 OPS, really damn good. All right. So I'm a little worried about that. The guys that hold good numbers against Boyd are J.P. Crawford, which someone mentioned before, Jorge Polanco, and Mitch Garver all have good history, significant sample size versus Boyd. So although I can't give you a projection of the Mariners offense today, what they're expected to do against Boyd, we at least have some information that would suggest that it may be a tough game for Matthew Boyd today. All right, so that's the first kind of thing that I look at. But 92.5 is the number. We're looking for projections for over that for Matthew Boyd. His projected pitches thrown today, the base pitch is 90. The projected pitches thrown are 87. So, yeah, I mean, the bat seems to think that Seattle is going to do some damage against Matthew Boyd. I'm assuming they think that, are projecting that because of the low pitch projection. So they actually have him going under, Matthew Boyd under pitches thrown. Let's check another projection, though. We'll go to Fantasy Labs for the next one. Boyd is sitting out here at 94 projected pitches thrown. So you got one model projecting him to go under, another model projecting him to go over. We can break this tie by looking at Line Star, although as I mentioned before, Line Star, their projections for Matthew Boyd may not be the most accurate, but they've got him at 84.9 pitch count. I don't know. Make of that what you will. I don't trust Line Star as much for this pitch count number as I do some of these other models, but you've got 2 models out of the 3 that have him going under. We know it's a cold matchup for Boyd based on historical numbers versus today's Seattle Mariners lineup. So for me, I'm not loving the over on Boyd so far, but we can check something else out. We'll go over here to Outlier. We'll go punch Matthew Boyd's name in. Go over to the pitching outs. Make sure that it's set to over because you want to take the over, right? Or at least you were thinking about taking the over. Go down here to the supporting stats category, go to pitches thrown, and you can see that he's averaging about 91 pitches thrown, right? Which that average is below 92.5. So on average, he's going under 92.5. Now, let's check out home games. When he pitches at home, he's averaging 91.8. He's gone over in 3 times pitching at home, he's gone over. And here's the bad part. When you come down here and you look at Seattle's hitters versus lefties, you're going to see a lot of these numbers are in the red, which means no good for Matthew Boyd. Not a good matchup for Boyd. If it was a good matchup for Boyd, these would be green. Okay? So not a sexy matchup. So for me, I would leave Boyd alone or take the under, but that's just what all these data points are leading me to. Okay, I'll let you make the final decision on that. So the under would be the way that I would go on Boyd. Your other two that you mentioned, the hitters, you had Neto for less than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, and you had Rutschman for less than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So let's take a look at Neto first and foremost. Going up against Hunter Brown. Angels offense projected to be one of the worst today, worst stacks. They are the 6th lowest projected offense against Hunter Brown. So I can see why you might be interested in taking some unders on Angels hitters. Looking at Neto versus Brown historically, he's faced Brown, a righty, 6 times. He's only got 1 hit against Brown in his 6 at-bats, 2 strikeouts, a 167 batting average, and a .452 OPS. So just based on previous matchups against Brown, I would say that the under is probably the better way to go. Against righties this season, non-Hunter Brown righties, that is, pretty good numbers. .801 OPS, .283 for the batting average. So he's got some pretty decent numbers against righties, generally speaking. Again, these are non-Hunter Brown righties. So there's a little bit more information about Neto. Let's get you some projections on Zach Neto. We'll go RotoWire first. Neto projecting over on the fantasy score because he is a good stolen base guy. But the 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, he's at 1.92. Now, that sounds like you should be thinking about taking the over, being that 1.92 is higher than 1.5. But I would say that for a hits, runs, and RBIs projection, that this is on the lower side. So while, yes, it is more than 1.5, that is a lower projection compared to some people. You see like 2.0 or 2.3 or higher hits, runs, and RBIs projections. So that's kind of on the lower scale, lower end. So let's check out some of these other models. We'll go over to the EV Analytics page, which is, again, powered by The Bat, the best MLB projection model out there. And their projection for Zach Neto is 1.97. So close to 2. Close to 2. So maybe today he figures Hunter Brown out. I don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Let's get you another projection on Neto. They've got him at 2.1 on Line Star. So there's another Zach Neto projection. What about the books? How is the betting public betting Zach Neto? Well, they are betting the under despite the projections. So it seems like they're favoring more, his historical numbers versus Hunter Brown than what these projection models are suggesting. So they've got him close to a 54% hit rate or chance of hitting based on the odds pulled from, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 different sports books and DFS pick'em apps. So you aggregate all those numbers together, you strip out the juice, strip out the vig, you got about a fair odds chance of about 54% of him going under. Okay? So hopefully that helps you out. And then the last guy you mentioned was Adley Rutschman. He's going up against Max Fried today, so let's go run the numbers on Adley Rutschman. Rutschman versus Fried, a lefty. 0 for 6 in his career. 0 for 6. 1 walk, 1 strikeout. 0 batting average for his career. .43 OPS because of that 1 walk that he's got. .43 OBP because of that 1 walk that he's got. So crappy numbers against Fried, which is good if you're thinking about taking the under. How has he fared against non-Max Fried lefties this season? Well, decent. He's actually got some decent numbers. .756 OPS, .278 batting average, a .381 on base percentage, and .375 slug percentage. So he's generally pretty good against lefties, better against lefties than righties, but has not been so good against Max Fried. We already talked about the Orioles being dead last offensively in terms of team projections. So they're one of the lowest projecting offenses, the lowest projecting offense today against Max Fried. So the projection models from the bat not liking the overall health or wealth of the Baltimore Orioles offense. So they think Baltimore is going to stink it up against Max Fried today. Okay, so you kind of get a picture here of what's going on with Adley Rutschman. Taking a look at Adley, projection-wise, you're looking at the 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. This hasn't been a prop that he's hit at a very high rate this season. He's only gone over this in 41% of the games that he's played in. 1.84 is the projection on RotoWire, so they've got him going under the 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs number. So perhaps he continues to struggle today against Max Fried. He hasn't been so great over his last 10 games. Only gone over in 4 out of the last 10. So, yeah, Adley Rutschman's kind of been stinking it up, man. Let's look at some projections for Rutschman. Hits, runs, and RBI projection for Adley Rutschman over on the bat. 1.84 is their projection. So he's projecting even lower than Zach Neto. So like if you were trying to like figure out which one, I would say maybe Adley Rutschman for the under. But maybe they're both in play. Maybe they're both viable. Could be. They could both very well go under. Adley Rutschman over on Line Star projected for about 1.6. Again, a lower projection than Zach Neto. And then, of course, we'll check out the sports books for you as well. Rutschman, almost a 54% chance, similar to Zach Neto, of going under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So to me, Adley Rutschman would be my favorite out of him and Neto to go under. But both of those are considered to be positive expected value plays. Both of them are projecting on the lower end for the hits, runs, and RBIs. So, yeah, I think you're on to 2 pretty solid picks there, my friend. Mr. Manny. All right. Well, we hit our goal for Super Chats for the day. We got our 6-pick Flex Friday protected play out there for those that missed out. Here's what that looks like. We took Wheeler over 96.5 pitches thrown, Corbin Carroll over 10.5 hitter fantasy score, Shane Baz for less than 5.5 pitcher strikeouts, Max Fried for more than 95.5 pitches thrown, Allisha Gray of the Atlanta Dream for 17 or more points, and Aaron Judge for over 9 hitter fantasy score. So if you're looking for some picks to tail, we researched these all live. Hit the rewind button if you want to see why we landed on what we landed on with these particular players and picks. But the research has been done. There's nothing more we can do now but hope that these players perform to the best of their abilities. Love you guys. Appreciate you for joining me for today's live stream. Over 2 hours. We put in the work today, so hopefully it all pays off. We'll catch you in the next one real soon. Peace.